To many Americans, Robert F. Kennedy symbolized a bright and hopeful future. Tragically, one fateful night saw his life and his political career cut short in the blink of an eye. In 1968, Robert F. Kennedy, also known as RFK, seemed the country's last chance at a promising future. In the civil rights era, the former U.S. Attorney General and candidate for the presidency built his platform around race reform and social justice issues. By doing so, RFK, who was the brother of the late President John F. Kennedy, sought to unite the economically underprivileged white working class and Black Americans. RFK was killed by an assassin before those goals could play out, though, and for this reason, Kennedy, much like his brother after he was struck down by an assassin's bullet 5 years earlier, remains a symbol of what might have been.
The people in the Democratic Party and the people in the United States want a change.
On the night that he died, RFK had won the all-important California primary when, after giving a victory speech at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, the politician made his way to exit the building through the pantry area. Around that same time, then busboy Juan Romero shook Kennedy's hand to congratulate him on the victory when the White House hopeful was shot at close range. Pulling the trigger was 22-year-old Sirhan Sirhan, a Palestinian-born Jordanian citizen angered by Kennedy's perceived support of Israel. RFK died the next day, and in the chaos, 5 others were wounded before the shooter was tackled and disarmed. Speaking with the Los Angeles Times in 2015, Romero said, "RFK's death made me realize that no matter how much hope you have, it can be taken away in a second." Bookended by the Mystic Summer of Love in 1967 and the Woodstock concert of 1969, the '68 presidential election in which RFK briefly ran for president as a Democrat took place during an especially catastrophic year for the United States.
We all know the war is hell story. It is.
The ongoing Vietnam War saw its highest casualty toll with the so-called Tet Offensive, a major blow to Western ego and foreign policy. Simultaneously, the threat of communism in Asia and elsewhere crept ever onward. After the Prague Spring, then Czechoslovakia returned to the communist Soviet Union's oppressive rule, and that April, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. After MLK Jr.'s death, civil rights leader and future Georgia Representative John Lewis said, "With King gone, he felt as though he'd lost a friend, a big brother, a colleague." Lewis continued, "I said to myself, well, we still have Bobby Kennedy." As a candidate, RFK sent an anti-war message that stood in contrast to the policies of then-President Lyndon Baines Johnson. RFK had famously feuded with LBJ and put himself forward for the Democratic nomination after Eugene McCarthy almost beat the incumbent president in an early primary. Ironically, LBJ served as Bobby's brother John F. Kennedy's vice president and likely only became president because of JFK's assassination. A short time after Kennedy's candidacy was announced, LBJ said he would no longer seek his party's nomination. The path to a Kennedy Democratic primary victory was far from a guarantee, as Politico pointed out in a 2018 piece. Only 15 states used the primary to choose their electors, while the rest were chosen by committees, and eventual party nominee Hubert H. Humphrey had practically unilateral support from them. On June 5, 1968, John Lewis's optimistic appraisal of Robert F. Kennedy still seemed reasonable, though Lewis didn't realize what was coming. To kill Kennedy, Sirhan Sirhan concealed a .22 revolver rolled up in a campaign poster as he approached Kennedy. When RFK died, grief weighed heavily on the conscience of then busboy Juan Romero, who cradled the senator's head and stuffed rosary beads into his hand as he lay dying. As he told the Los Angeles Times, he couldn't help but wonder if Kennedy would still be alive had he not stopped to shake his hand. Kennedy's tragic death was a major hit to the American psyche, pulling it from the edge of a brighter future back into chaos. Though Romero's life was but one of millions affected by the assassination, it is a particularly poignant reminder of the impact one person has on another. Hubert Humphrey easily secured the Democratic nomination for president. He lost the White House to Republican Richard Nixon in a contest that was closer than a lot of people recall. Nixon himself resigned from the presidency during his second term, adding a bit more division to an already fractured country. Sirhan was convicted of killing Kennedy and wounding 5 other people and sentenced to life in prison. In March 2023, Sirhan was once again denied parole. People still think back to what could have been with Robert F. Kennedy.